30 seconds.
Hello, it is I. Today we are discussing the importance of character barks in games. Now I wouldn't blame you if you don't know what that means, so let me explain. The term bark is originally coined from Darkest Dungeon, which refers to each voice line said by the cast.
It's the rules. If someone says finale, yeah.
On a broader spectrum, the definition of a bark is something a character says in combat. Barks are used mainly for a couple reasons: to convey tone and character, or to give the player updates on the current game state. The best example I could think of would be Bane from the Payday franchise. Gives updates on police assaults, and has unique voice lines about special enemies in the first game. Barks add a surprisingly large amount to a game's enjoyment, occasionally perhaps in a bit of a psychopathic way, like in Titanfall for example. Killing a bunch of grunts feels so lifeless when they don't have any VO that acknowledges the player. Contrast this to how great it feels when you hear these inferior AI screaming for help as you mercilessly slaughter them. Something that also fits the tone of the game surprisingly well, and establishes the power of pilots relative to soldiers. In Battlefront, using the clones as an example, because why would you ever play any other era, barks are used to great effect to create a sense of camaraderie with you and your fellow soldiers. The CIS, and Jedi, have a lot less barks than the Republic, which means that when you hear someone talking, you can be certain it's one of your own. And when one of them says, you listen. Battlefront's VO was written, directed, and implemented incredibly well, which certainly helps. Even though the game's difficulty is pretty trivial, killing a group of enemies and then hearing never fails to make me crack a smile. Seriously, the dude turns into your, own Republic hype man after a while.
Now that's how it's done. Looks like you got this down. I've lost count. How many does that make? Take out that super bullseye.
Okay, quick side note. I know I just said that the game's difficulty is pretty trivial, but I did replay the campaign for this video, and that section of the game is a whole other league compared to instant action. Seriously, skirmish battles are pretty much like guaranteed victories, but the Kashyyyk or Coruscant missions are like...
They've breached the sea wall. Brace yourselves. Looks like you got this down. Knock it off. Yeah, now you got it. Falling in behind you. My masters, who have poisoned the minds of their impressionable students. Let them bear witness to the cost of rebellion. If you can keep at least one of the bookcases intact for at least 2 minutes, command... Yeah, now you got it! Keep up the assault! Yeah, now you got it!
And then you boot up instant action, and you get stuff like this! Okay, this clip actually went on for so long I'm gonna have to cut it early because it annihilated the pacing of the video. Another thing I learned is that allied engineers can actually give you supplies if you need them, accompanied by a unique AI exclusive bark.
Try not to waste this, soldier.
It doesn't always work though.
Looks like you could use some supplies.
To look at how Payday handles barks, we'll have to approach Payday 2 and Payday the Heist separately, as they both approach it very differently, and one gives it a lot more importance over the other. To start chronologically, Payday the 1 sounds a lot more grounded. This is generally fitting with the tone of the game as a whole, as Pedith took itself a lot more seriously than the clown fiesta that is Payday 2. Enemy barks are clear and easy to hear, with a kind of grating radio filter that I've come to love over the years. The game's difficulty also helps reinforce Payday the Heist cops as being significantly scarier than those found in its sequel. Because the first game is so goddamn hard, cops are genuinely a threat, and thus their voice lines get more backing as a result. Also, when you get run down by a bulldozer in the first game, it says nothing and absolutely annihilates you.
You think I'm scared of you? I'ma fuck you up!
Now, onto the way Payday 2 handles barks. Payday 2's audio mixing is absolutely atrocious! Seriously, can you even hear any of the enemy or allied barks in this clip? Specials like bulldozers completely lose their threat considering you can literally turn into an unkillable god. The bulldozer has some absolutely golden lines.
You're up against the wall and I am the fucking wall! Do you even know how fucked you are?
But he's just a joke because of Overkill's questionable balancing decisions. As a whole, Payday 2 has some absolutely fantastic direction, just like Battlefront, but you just can't hear any of it over the sounds of Vikland and gunfire. XCOM's a bit of a strange example as it's turn-based, unlike the other 4 examples given so far. All of the conventions mentioned apply to it though. Your soldiers all respond with an enthusiastic reply whenever they're told what to do, but never more than once per turn as to not annoy the player.
Let's take him out.
The direction is also really, really good.
Armor has not been penetrated. Engaging close quarters target.
Go, go, go! Breach, breach, breach! Aggression, aggression!
Oh, you're
losing control of the situation!
Panzerung hält stand.
XCOM soldiers are also voiced in a bunch of different languages, with voice packs distributed based on a soldier's country of origin. This helps reinforce XCOM's themes about Earth coming together as a whole to defeat the alien invasion.
Ennemi neutralisé.
Enemy barks are also fantastic, my personal favorite being their unique death screams that are kind of comical. Darkest Dungeon, like XCOM, is also turn-based. Whereas XCOM used its barks to make you feel acknowledged and sometimes horrified, Darkest Dungeon just wants to make you feel horrified.
26 at second round!
The writing does an excellent job of conveying the theme, and in my experience is equally as effective at conveying the depressing tone, maybe even more so as it conveys a lot to the player's imagination than if it was spoken. Seeing an afflicted hero stress everyone out always makes me go, God, shut up you moron! Which, like the rest of the examples, perfectly fits the tone of the game.
Fucking asshole.
He's about to die and he's just going,
Like, shut up!
barks can be found in a lot of other games too, and I might just make a follow-up video to include those examples, if I feel like it.
How many? How many times did we hear the voice line, another team?
No, you have to do them in the same direction, Scott, for
shit.
visual clarity.
Sorry, I'm inexperienced when it comes
Yeah. Perfect.
to. I'm sorry. Oh, I did not think this one through.
Maybe even more so, as it leaves a lot to let players